Hey guys, Josh at Alpine XC. We're talking about our Reds cone valves and how to get them put in your bike. So as you get the kit, we send you absolutely nothing because we want you to be reasonably familiar with suspension before you do this, because there's some easy things you can screw up to damage suspension just on the disassembly and assembly. So our system simplifies a lot of the tuning. What we've got here is, this is a KYB cone, and this right here is our WP cone. The major difference between the two is you're going to notice the spindle and how it attaches to the damping rod. Both of these replace the OEM setup. You're going to take the damping rod, you're going to clamp it, and you're going to heat that up gently. We're going to get that Loctite heated up so it comes off easy. Then you're going to take what we call the tap. Okay, and the tap is going to be what holds the base of the whole assembly. So the WP tap, key piece of it is going to be removing the O-ring that goes around the threads here. And what we're going to do is put that OEM one onto the new tap that you get from the Reds kit. The next piece of that is, once you get the cone assembly on the damping rod, what we're looking for is a certain amount of float on the cone. What that's going to do is allow you some tunability from stiff to soft. Creating a little more float in the cone is going to allow it to be a gentler and smoother ride. So with different measurements, we're going to run between 1 millimeter and 0.1 millimeter of float. 0.1 millimeter is going to be really aggressive. Generally only the most aggressive, most professional pace moto guys. Typically we're going to start out at 0.5 for our typical motocross setup. 1 millimeter is going to be a really good hard enduro and single track setup. And we're going to run between 1 and 0.5 just for our general off-road settings, okay? So in adjusting that, there's two key elements. If you need to create more float, the easiest way is we use a 6 millimeter ID, 8 millimeter OD shim. And you can use the 0.1, the 0.15s, 0.2s, add them up and slip them onto the bolt underneath the cone valve, okay? Then when you put the assembly together and bolt it down, that's going to raise the gap of your float, okay? Your float is then going to be measured with a feeler gauge and just confirm, just kind of average out where that spring lands and make sure it's where you want it. If you need to take up more slack, you have all the shims pulled off of the bolt. What you're going to do is you're going to use a 12 by 14, 12 by 16, or even a 12 by 18 can fit below the cone valve spring. It's going to set on the body here. And what we're going to do is set the spring on top of it and then set the cone piston there in place. At that point, that's going to tighten up some of the gap. If we've run out of tolerance on the other direction where we put the small shim, okay? As we place those in, that allows us to set that setting, and then you are going to remove from the stock valve, we're going to take the piston band off if it's new. Take that piston band, move it onto the center of the Reds cone valve, and then we're going to also take the rebound stack and drop it on. If you are a tuner and you're familiar with setting up rebound stacks, what we're going to recommend is any of your standard rebound settings should be compatible with the Reds cone. So if you've tuned this bike before, you know what rebound settings you like for whatever spring combo, you can drop that right on top here. So if you don't have tuning experience, you don't have other shims, you can take the stock stack, place it on there. And that is going to complete the Reds installation. Beyond that, you can always open up the base valve and do your standard tuning settings there to get more additional tuning. If you get in other circumstances and have questions about different cone valve settings specifically, call us or email us at alpinexc@gmail.com.